When to plant limelight hydrangea. I had the best luck planting my limelight hydrangea in early spring. The weather was starting to warm up, but there wasn't the scorching summer heat yet. It gave the little guy a chance to establish its roots before the hot and dry days arrived. Fall would probably be another good option, but I like seeing new growth happen alongside the spring blooms. When to prune limelight hydrangea. I try to prune my limelight hydrangea in late winter, just before it wakes up for spring. It's a little easier to see the structure of the bush without all the leaves in the way. Plus, since limelight hydrangeas flower on new growth, I know I'm not accidentally snipping off next season's blooms. This past year, I waited a bit too long and ended up accidentally taking off a few budding branches. Let's just say I learned my lesson about waiting for that perfect late winter window. What to plant in front of limelight hydrangea. In front of my limelight hydrangea, I love using shade-loving perennials with interesting textures and pops of color. Hostas are a classic choice, and their big, bold leaves add a nice contrast to the hydrangea's airy flowers. But this year, I'm trying something new, ferns. I found some delicate maidenhair ferns that add a whimsical, layered feel to the bed. They also love the same moist soil the hydrangea enjoys, so it's a win-win. Do deer eat limelight hydrangea? Absolutely. My poor limelight hydrangea has been a target for those pesky deer more than once. One year, I came out to find half the new growth munched away, leaving sad, ragged branches. It turns out those beautiful blooms they seem to love are like candy to them. Now, I have to be super vigilant about using deer repellent, especially in the early spring when the new growth is most tempting. How big does limelight hydrangea get? My limelight hydrangea has surprised me with its size. I thought it would stay on the shorter side, but that little guy has grown into a real showstopper. It's easily reached about 6 feet tall now, and it's starting to bush out around the same width. It's not huge by any means, but it definitely takes up more space than I originally expected. Luckily, it fills out a nice corner of the yard, and I love seeing the giant lime green blooms every summer. How to propagate limelight hydrangea. I've had good results propagating limelight hydrangeas from stem cuttings in the early summer. It's like getting free plants. The key is to find a healthy stem with a few nodes, those little bumps where leaves grow. I take a clean cut just below a node, at an angle, and then strip off the lower leaves. Rooting hormone isn't essential, but I found it can help speed things up. Then I pot the cuttings in a well-draining mix and keep them moist in a shady spot. It takes some patience, but in a few weeks I usually see little roots peeking out. By next spring, they'll be ready to transplant into the garden and start growing into their own little limelight beauties. Can limelight hydrangea take full sun? Absolutely. My limelight hydrangea thrives in full sun, especially in the mornings. It seems to love soaking up those early rays to fuel its impressive growth. However, I learned the hard way that brutal afternoon sun can be a bit harsh, especially in the hottest parts of summer. To keep my plant happy, I try to give it some afternoon shade, either from a strategically planted taller bush nearby or a shade cloth during the peak heat hours. With a little extra protection, my limelight hydrangea rewards me with tons of blooms all throughout the summer. How big does a limelight hydrangea get? My limelight hydrangea has surprised me with its size. I thought it would stay on the shorter side, but that little guy has grown into a real showstopper. It's easily reached about 6 feet tall now, and it's starting to bush out around the same width. It's not huge by any means, but it definitely takes up more space than I originally expected. Luckily, it fills out a nice corner of the yard, and I love seeing the giant lime green blooms every summer. How far apart to plant limelight hydrangea? Spacing your limelight hydrangeas depends on what you want them to look like in the future. Here's my experience. For a full, blooming hedge, I'd space them about 5 to 6 feet apart. That way they'll have enough room to mature, and their branches will eventually fill in the gaps, creating a stunning wall of lime green flowers. If you prefer them to stand out as individual specimens, then 7 to 8 feet apart is a good bet. This gives them room to reach their full size, around 6 feet tall and wide, without crowding each other. They'll still make a statement in the yard, but you'll appreciate the beautiful blooms from all sides of each bush. When does limelight hydrangea bloom? Ah, the blooms! Those lime green beauties are the real stars of the show, as far as I'm concerned. The exact timing can vary depending on where you live, but here's what I've observed with mine. In my neck of the woods, temperate climate, I can expect to see the first blooms emerge in midsummer around July. But these aren't your average flowers. The limelight hydrangea is a real trooper, and it keeps putting out new blooms throughout the fall. So even though summer might be winding down, the limelight hydrangea keeps the party going in the garden with its gorgeous lime green flowers. Over time, the blooms actually change color, too, slowly turning a soft pink as the weather cools. It's like getting multiple flower shows in one with this amazing hydrangea.